Push a language model's temperature up high, and something ugly happens. The whole probability distribution flattens out, weird low probability tokens sneak into the running, and the text starts to babble and lose the thread. The popular fix, top P, doesn't always hold up under that heat, because once the curve is flat, a fixed mass budget can quietly scoop up junk. So in 2024, a newer method arrived to handle exactly that case. The min-P rule sets a relative floor instead of a fixed budget, and today we're unpacking how it works, walking through the actual computation, and seeing why it stays coherent right where other methods start to slip. The cleanest way in is to line it up against nucleus sampling. Nucleus sampling, or top P, works on absolute cumulative mass. You keep adding the most likely tokens until their combined probability crosses a fixed threshold like 0.9. It doesn't care how confident the single best token is. It only cares about the running total. The min-P rule works relative to the top token instead. You look at the most likely token's probability and set a floor at some fraction of it. A value of 0.1 means keep anything at least a tenth as likely as the leader and discard the rest. The key difference is that the bar itself moves with the model's confidence, rather than staying anchored to one global number. That one design choice, a relative floor, gives it three useful behaviors. The floor is scaled by the strongest token. When one word clearly dominates the distribution, the bar sits high, so weak alternatives get pruned aggressively and the output stays firmly on the rails. You are essentially telling the model, if you're this sure, don't wander off to something 100 times less likely. It reads confidence directly. A sharp, decisive distribution prunes hard down to just a few strong choices, while a flat, uncertain one drops the bar and lets many plausible tokens survive. The behavior tracks the model's own certainty instead of forcing one fixed rule onto every situation. And that's why it shines at high temperature. Where top P can wave through garbage once the curve flattens, this floor still filters relative to the leader, so the bar never collapses. You get to keep coherence while still allowing genuine creativity, which is exactly the combination people crank the temperature up hoping to find. Walk the actual computation at one step, piece by piece. First, find a single most likely token and read off its probability. That top value becomes the reference point for everything that follows this step. Nothing is decided in absolute terms. It's all measured against this one leader. Next, set the floor. Multiply that top probability by your chosen fraction P. If the leader sits at 50% and P is 0.1, the cutoff lands at 5%. Then, keep only the tokens whose probability clears that floor. Everything below it is discarded in one sweep, and the survivors are renormalized into a clean distribution, so their probabilities add back up to 1. Finally, draw a token from the survivors, append it, and move on. The floor gets recomputed from scratch at the very next position. Let's lock in what matters. This method keeps tokens above a floor set as a fraction of the single most likely token's probability. Because the floor is relative, it prunes hard when the model is confident and opens up when it's uncertain. Its headline strength is robustness at high temperature, where top P can leak incoherent tokens as the curve flattens. That lets you dial creativity way up without the usual descent into gibberish. Think of it as a sturdier sampling floor for creative generation. For more of these AI concepts explained without the jargon, swing by standarity.com and take a look.